Alrighty. If you have been looking for ways to simplify your life this morning, we have just the thing for you. A local author is making a name for himself, shall I say, with a radical new approach to life, and anybody can do it.
Yeah, Dr. Alan Harris is a KC native with a new book that's titled The Monk, the Trunk, and the Junk. We have the book right here.
That's
Thanks
right.
so much for being with us this morning.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thanks. Welcome in.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
Good.
Thank you
So
so much.
tell us about the title of the book. It's really interesting.
Thank you. It actually comes from the story, this parable of a lay associate monk. Which means he's in the community, he's married, but he belongs to a monastic order, and he's driving up to a monastery for a retreat and has a tire blowout, and then realizes he can't get to the spare tire in the trunk because of all the junk, the stuff he's just accumulated and put in there.
Huh.
Stuff he's left in there for years. And so really it's a metaphor of our lives. Sometimes we can't get to the essential things because they're under something else that's cluttering. And so we see that at homes, with homes that are cluttered and doors that are full of stuff. And so it's really a metaphor for how do we get through the non-essential to find the essential.
I like that.
But let's explore that a little bit now in your book, because it really is a metaphor for life. Because if I think of my own home, I mean, there's stuff that's been there for 10 or 15 years, and I haven't even given it a look. So it's basically there, and it's cluttering. It's almost like hoarding. So how do you declutter that, and maybe how do you declutter your mind?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because a lot of it has to do with the mind and the heart. And there are a lot of people who are doing work with organizing homes or decluttering or books on keep this, throw this away. But it really comes down to what's in your heart and your mind. It could be, again, have connections to your family, your past, loved ones, things we're holding on to. Why do we keep the things? It's a lot of things aren't important anymore. So it's really kind of, I think it comes down to three things: is clearly looking at what it is you have, what the situation is, what you don't need anymore. The second is to dearly look at those things and those people that you love, things that are important to you. And the third thing is on earnestly taking a stand, deciding I'm going to clean out that drawer, I'm going to clean out the closet, take out that box, and work through it. Enlisting help when you need, because help is important. A lot of this is overwhelming, we can't do it ourselves.
Yeah, and I would think,
Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, I would think too, decluttering can be tough. I mean, you mentioned your home, but for me, pictures and videos are memories from my lifetime.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to delete that stuff from my phone, because it's nice to go back and see memories of me and my mom, or, how do you declutter? Why is it such a struggle for a lot of people?
That's a good question, right? Everything has a degree of importance, otherwise we wouldn't keep it. But those of us who have phones and we take a lot of photos, we know sometimes we may end up taking 5 or 10 photos, just like our parents would take photos of things that were, we took the slideshows, right? And it's like, well, we keep a lot of those things that are fuzzy or cloudy or out of focus or 3-thing pictures. We don't need them all. We can downsize the things. And these days we have all the apps and electronics that can help us digitize and downsize that stuff. I have a friend who's taken thousands of photos and slides and really made an effort. It takes a concerted effort to get those down to something as small and concise, and he could send it on to his girls and they could put it on their computers and use it. So a lot of stuff we want to share with others, we have to find ways to make it a little easier.
Share. That's one thing I want to chat about here, because I would think people who have read your book here would immediately start sharing about their life. They would start talking about how this book relates to them. I'm curious what kind of reactions you've gotten from people who have read the book.
Yeah, good question. I think sharing is important, and because a lot of it is our storytelling, a narrative on life. And the thing about the pre-death cleaning, it came out of the term came out of the Swedish death cleaning, book written a few years ago by a Swedish woman, and it's being able to sort through those things that either, again, that we're not going to need, don't want, or things that we don't want to pass along to someone else, and give them the heavy burden of doing that work, of going through stuff. If you had parents die hearing stories and working with people who've been saddled with a house full of belongings and very little that they want to read. How do they work through that? It's be able to share stories and have someone to sit with, even if the person helping you is not doing a lot of the lifting, and that they're listening and they're really present, because it's just overwhelming to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is true.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
How can people get the book, by the way?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to mention.
Yeah, it is available, of course, through Amazon, either a Kindle or a print copy, and also it's available through can be ordered through Rainy Day Books and Barnes and Noble here in Kansas City.
Rainy Day Books, one of my favorite
Yeah.
places in Kansas
Yeah,
City.
and I can be reached at website is MonkTrunkJunk.com.
All right.
So just think
MonkTrunkJunk.com. All right, Dr.
All right.
It's great to see
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks for
Thanks
coming
so
on
much.
this morning. Come
Thank
back and
you.
visit
That was
us
great.
again.
Well, we told you about the new